You are seeing pictures here in Baltimore of protesters rioting and looting as we speak over the death of a black man while in police custody, demanding answers from the police department and the mayor. The scene has cooled down somewhat in the last half hour, but we are already getting word that the Orioles game at Camden Yards, which is about a half a mile or a mile or so from where some of the disturbance was, has already been postponed. Now, tension between police and communities is getting all too common, as you know. We have seen our share of that, certainly here in New York with the Eric Garner situation. Everything kind of came to a head when police officers Lou and Ramos were murdered in cold blood in Brooklyn. And now, several months later, Rudy Giuliani all but said they wouldn't have been killed on his watch. On Saturday, when Giuliani was asked about their killer, who came from Maryland, he was quoted as saying, "You don't think the turmoil that was going on in New York didn't help draw him in? And you think he would have shown up here when I was mayor?" Dominic, he's an interesting or curious bird here, but even by Rudy's standards, I'm surprised he went this far.
I like Rudy, I really do. But there comes a time when all of us, and we'll all do things to stay relevant, especially in politics. I'm wondering if Rudy's losing it, or if he just keeps throwing Hail Marys to try and stay relevant in the news so that he'll be making a lot of money on his speeches. It is absolutely ridiculous for him to say something like this. So you're going to get inside the head of a madman, somebody with mental illness, and what you're really saying is, if I was mayor and I kept them in check, and we know what that means, then he would not have come here. That's absolutely ridiculous. And so Rudy Giuliani was a good mayor, but you have to also, he has no credibility. There's no other way. Richard, I'm tapping around trying not to diss, if you will, the former mayor. This is the same guy where the entire black community of New York City was marching on City Hall and getting arrested every day at One Police Plaza, from the former first black mayor to Congressman Charles Rangel, to rappers and so on. Rudy has no credibility on this issue.
And just from, Dominic, just from a tone-deaf standpoint, imagine you're the families of Lou and Ramos, right? You're hearing from a former mayor, your husbands, your son, your father, he'd be alive if I was mayor here. In effect, the blood is on the hands of de Blasio. I mean, I don't know, just even by Rudy, who's inflammatory on this stuff, I just thought it was a line he leapfrogged, forget about towed over. I want to stay with New York here, and I want to go to Albany, where Governor Cuomo is apparently telling friends that he intends to run for a third term in 2018. Cuomo could have to face his own attorney general in a Democratic primary, as Schneiderman reportedly is also considering a run in 2018. Jeannie, I got to think there's between, you know, forget Slim and none, and Slim left the building. Schneiderman, there's no chance he's running if Andrew's running again, right?
I would think not, at least at this point. I mean, a lot can happen before 2018, but come on, Schneiderman, if you go and ask people on the street, who is the Attorney General of New York, I'm not certain you're going to get a real answer on that. So I don't think that's a real problem for Cuomo.
Well, in fact,
at least at this point.
If you're talking to the most known law enforcement guy, people would probably say Prepahara.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting primary in 18.
They probably would, but if you're Eric Schneiderman, why not get the pieces together? Why not start looking at this possibility? Jeannie's right, it's a long time between now and 2018. Prepahara is going to have his job at least for another year and a half or more. Who knows whether the next domino that falls in Albany falls on Andrew Cuomo's doorstep? I mean, we have no idea where this goes, where he's connected, or what happens with the fallout from Moreland. We only got a piece of that before the last election. If you're Schneiderman, why not try to position yourself as maybe?
Richard, you see this?
Yeah.
See this? That's a zero. That's the possibility.
See, that looks like an okay.
That's okay. Okay.
That looks okay to me.
Let me ask you.
Knowing the personalities of both men very well, there's no way in hell
I got
that
one minute,
Schneiderman will challenge Cuomo.
Usually when people say, oh, the family dynamics, they usually don't know what they're talking about. They make more of it than it is. But it's real here.
Oh, yeah, the Cuomo
Andrew and Mario and running for the third term.
I thought, after covering the Cuomos, I thought I was going to have to get personal counseling. Seriously. Because these guys...
We can get you some.
Yeah, I may need some.
Does he need it?
Yeah, I need some. These guys, I've never covered a father and son where they would openly criticize each other. And on background, talk bad about not fully bad, but somewhat bad about the other. I told you before, Andrew Cuomo is definitely running for a third term. From day one, he knew he was running for a third term. This is about his father. His father served 3 terms. He wants 3 terms. As a matter of fact, Andrew may want 4. And it's a way of him staying relevant because he can forget Washington and the White House.
Just remember, it gets harder and harder the longer you go.
It sure
Yeah.
does. It sure does.
As his father knows.
Yes.
When we come back here, President Obama introduced his anger translator. I gotta say, Don's been talking about this
I've been
for
telling you this for
many
years,
a year,
for
right?
years.
Yeah, the so-called alter ego Luther was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It's supposed to be a joke here, but gave maybe some serious insight into what's going on behind the scenes with the president. Stay with us.